This video is about multi-step equations. So this one looks pretty long, but it's not too bad when we break it up. We see this first piece right here in the middle. And this is so important that we need to distribute this -4 into both pieces inside of our parentheses here. So we use a distributive property. So I know -4 times 2/3. And I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this entire line here, including bringing down these pieces right here. So here we have it. So we've now just rewritten it, and I put plus signs here in between because we are just going to treat that subtraction sign in the beginning where it says -4. We're going to treat that like a -4. So we're just putting addition signs there. So let's simplify a little bit further. So we have it simplified after the distributive property. And now I want us to simplify and combine like terms. So I'm going to start over here with our h's. So we have 1/3 h minus 8/3 h. Leave that as a fraction. 1 minus 8 will leave us with a -7/3 h. And then just bring down everything else as you write it out. So 2/3 h on this side minus 6. Okay, a trick that some of us have been using is just drawing from here a little line through the equal sign, because we know what we do to one side we have to do to the other. So the first thing is I want my variables. Oh, I see that there is one thing I missed. I missed my 2/3 h here, so make sure you bring down that all correctly. So I know that I need my variables on one side, numbers on the other. First thing I want to do is I really want to get rid of this negative over here. So I want to add 7/3 h on both sides. So keep it in this fraction for now because it might be easier to combine these. So if I have 7/3 h, I am looking at 2/3 plus 7/3, which gives us 9/3. And as you might already be able to tell, it's going to be a lot easier to do here. With the 9/3, we can tell that will simplify to 3. But I also want to, in the same step, show how if I'm putting variables on this side, I need to put my numbers on the left side over here. I don't have a lot of room, so I'm going to go ahead and combine this step, but feel free to go ahead and bring everything down and do this in a separate step. So I know that my numbers need to be over here, and I put my variables on this side. So I'm going to add 6, since my letters are on the right, on both sides. So you just do the inverse operation. 12 plus 6 is 18. So now we have 18 is equal to 9/3 h. Well, we also know that that is the same thing as saying 3h. So we have 18 is equal to 3h. Now I'm going to rewrite this over here to the side just so that you can see this a little more clearly. 18 is equal to 3h. I need to get my h by itself. So I'm going to divide by this 3. 18 divided by 3. And I now know h is equal to 6. Okay, and that is actually the end. Now that is a long problem. Realize that you have a notebook paper. You can go the length of that. I have a small space to work with here. But this is a long problem, so take it step by step. And always go back and check your answer. Plug your answer in and see if it works. We're going to keep going with a different type of problem. Right, at first, now this looks like a very similar problem. So it's very similar to the last one. We want to distribute all the things on the outside of parentheses into the parentheses. So now we have 6x minus 18, and just rewrite the rest of this, plus 10 is equal to, distribute that 2, so that we again have 6x, 2 times the -4 would give us -8. Alright, so let's keep going. So simplify a little bit further. Let's combine these terms. So -18 plus 10, that'll leave us with a -8. 6x minus 8 is equal to 6x minus 8. We start to realize there's something different about this problem. So go ahead and try to get numbers on one side, variables on the other. So I'm going to add over this 8 on both sides. We're left with 6x is equal to, 6x. Alright, that's the exact same thing. We could go it a step further if we want to continue. Divide by 6 on both sides. We're left with x is equal to x. Alright, this is a weird situation where actually all answers are all real numbers can fit into our x. So we can plug a 2 in for x and it would work. We could plug a 5, we could plug a negative 23.8 and it would be fine. So the way we write that, there are two ways. We could just write infinite solutions, or we could call this most commonly referred to as all real numbers. So I used to call it ARN all the time when I was in school. So all real numbers, and all real numbers will apply here. So any real number that you plug in there will work. Let's look at another one that's also a little different. Alright, so here's our next problem. So again, go ahead and start with a distributive property. That's the best thing to start with each time. So we have 1/4 times 4. Okay, so if we look at that, 1/4, and I'm going to go ahead and show the middle piece here, because when we work with fractions, I always worry that we have trouble. 1/4 times 4 over 1 will be 1. And then we need to do 1/4, so we're going to add that to 1/4 times 8 over x, or 8x, I'm sorry, so I always think of that as 8 over 1 x. Okay, and so 1/4, so then we end up with 8 divided by 4. We all know that's 2, so we have 2x. So we've simplified the left side. Now half of 6, so 1/2 times 6. I'm going to jump ahead to show that. We know half of 6 is 3. And we know 1/2 times -4 should give us a -2x and then plus 4x. So let's combine like terms. Let's start with the side that still needs to be simplified. So we have -2x plus 4x. So we have 3, and then -2x plus 4x would leave us with plus 2x is equal to 1 plus 2x. Well, that looks familiar. So now we still need to get the terms on the same side. So we can start, and I'm going to start by subtracting my 2x, get the variables all on one side together. Alright, so we're left with, after we look at this one, we're left with 1 is equal to 3. 2x minus 2x. That still cancels out. So now we have 1 is equal to 3. Well, we know 1 is not 3, so that does not work. So our answer for this would be no solution. Sometimes you have problems where they don't have a solution. And so we would call that no solution. Alright, hopefully this was a great review on multi-step equations and a couple of different scenarios. So hopefully this was helpful, and if you have questions, make sure you're coming to tutoring and getting the help you need. Have a great day.